It's been years since I played any of the Carmen Sandiego games, but recently, when I was thinking about the lack of nuanced Latin characters in mainstream media, I thought about her. I realized that despite having played several games with her name in the title, I knew nothing about her. She was just the goal, the big boss to be defeated in the end. At first, this bothered me. I thought back to how impressed I was by Carmen when I was a girl, and I was almost ashamed that I was taken in by this bone I was being thrown. Oh sure, she had a Spanish name, and she occasionally popped up throughout the game with a cryptic punning message, but what did I actually learn about her? Not a whole lot. At least, not when I was playing the games as a kid. So I looked into it, and I realized there was more to her than I even realized that had been developed over the course of the entire franchise, which is understandable. After all, most video game characters from the 80s didn't start out with elaborate backstories. It's only within the past decade or so that consumers even started to care about things like characters and gaming. It used to be that people just needed the game to have a puzzle to be solved or a task to be accomplished. Now people expect a story. They want someone with whom they can identify. Carmen Sandiego is no exception. There are variations in her backstory over the course of several games and shows, but there are a few basic facts that seem to have congealed into something resembling a canon. Her full name is Carmen Isabella Sandiego. She is generally portrayed as a brilliant Acme detective gone rogue. Catching criminals began to prove too easy for her, so rather than continue on as an Acme detective, she decided to start outsmarting Acme for the greater challenge. This being the case, she's often portrayed as a thief with a conscience, and Acme detectives often have mixed feelings about capturing her, rather like I did as a child. But there are other intriguing elements of her character that change depending on how you're interacting with her. For example, where in time in Carmen Sandiego involves crimes like stealing the history of medicine, which, if it's not set right, could cause the deaths of a lot of people. While it's never said outright, this points to a certain level of heartlessness in Carmen's personality that doesn't quite jive with the thieves with a conscience portrayal. In Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego, the animated TV show, Carmen, voiced by Puerto Rican actress Rita Moreno, started out as an orphan who was given a home by the chief at Acme Detective Agency, where by 17 she solved more cases than any other agent. And in Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Treasures of Knowledge game, a more serious version of the original, Carmen was a child prodigy who won a huge amount of money on a game show called It's a Wise Child when she was 10 years old, and used the money to travel the world until she was 12. This is why being the protagonist of the video game franchise is so important, and why Carmen Sandiego is so important. It isn't about any one game, it's about the world. It's about the possibility. It's about the fact that if a game is successful, its protagonist will live on through various mediums on various platforms, indefinitely. For example, Jennifer Lopez is currently attached to produce a live-action Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego film for Walden Media, which is a huge opportunity for the character to be not only introduced to a new generation, but given more depth and definition. So when I think about Carmen being a criminal, and whether or not that perpetuates negative stereotypes and is therefore harmful, my current opinion is that doesn't matter if the character is nuanced and has agency. After all, The Sopranos is all about a white guy who's the head of a criminal organization. But Tony Soprano is a fascinating character because he isn't just a mobster. He has depth and nuance. He loves his family and little ducks. Breaking Bad is a show about a white guy who's an egotistical meth kingpin and has few qualms about causing the deaths of those who stand in his way. But Walter White is a fascinating character because of his reasons for doing what he does. He's a cancer survivor who uses his brain rather than brawn to climb the drug trafficking ladder. Carmen Sandiego is Walter White, or she could be. The ingredients are there, and whether she sees new life in a feature film, a TV show, or a newer game, her story can, and should, only grow and become more well-defined from here. Gaming needs a female Latin anti-hero. Gaming needs Carmen Isabella Sandiego.